Hi, welcome back to the TnT Sports Pod. I'm Teo. That's Teddy. This is episode 2. Episode 1 was a pretty big hit on Facebook, so thank you all for watching.
Yep.
We talked NFL draft. We did a first round mock and talked about some other stuff. But today we're going to revisit our mock draft, go a little deeper into the third round a little bit. And also, we're going to do a little draft bust and potential, some of our favorite draft sleepers. So we're gonna get into that, and then I am going to do a little solo portion. Obviously, Teddy will still be here, but I'm going to do a little solo portion where I absolutely ripped the Detroit Red Wings, a brand new one, as they like to say, in the burbs. So let's start off with our mock drafts.
Yep.
I think Teddy, I think you redid yours a little more than I did mine.
Yep.
And I just realized mine is on my phone. I'm recording with my phone.
Yeah.
So that's outstanding. But at any rate, I kind of remember what mine is. So we kind of redid our first round mock. But we're not, for the 3-round mock, we're not going to go through each and every pick. We just wanted to do kind of highlight some certain players.
Yeah.
And highlight guys that we would like for, if they're there, highlight players that we think we'd like the Lions to take.
Yep.
Because, again, Lions fans. Shout out Place Kickers. We appreciate you for all the hard work that you do here in Detroit for the Lions.
Hopefully we get to use them.
Signed Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
So let's start with that. Let's go with that. So my first round didn't really change much until we get to the latter stages of the first round with the Lions.
Yep.
Because once again, Cam Sutton decided to attempt to murder his girlfriend.
Yeah, that was completely uncalled for.
Yeah. We don't condone that kind of behavior here on the TnT Sports Pod.
Nope.
So yeah, I actually had them taking a cornerback.
Yep.
I had them taking Kamari Lassiter instead of wide receiver
Brian Thomas.
Yeah. The first time. So that's kind of my biggest shakeup. That and have Baltimore and San Francisco taking two different players.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. And then so for yours, let's go through yours because you had more changes than I did.
Yeah. So I had Drake May instead of being the third quarterback off the board. I had him following all the way down into the late, like mid first round.
Yeah.
Not completely sold on him anymore. It doesn't look good, like the tape, and just going back and watching him. I also had instead of Cooper DeJean that the Lions take, I changed it to actually your first. You had Brian Thomas. I have Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
So that was different, and then I had Dallas Turner falling farther than I had him before. And I also had Michael Penix up to the third quarterback off the board.
Yes, you did. Shout out Michael Penix for laying an egg in the national championship. Thank you, sir.
Yep. But 1 and 2 didn't change for me. And yeah, I think that was the biggest thing is Drake May, and obviously the Lions taking a corner.
Yeah.
Other than Cooper,
yeah. So as we get into obviously once you finish your first round, then you start getting into the second round, and these are the guys that are probably, historically speaking, these are the guys that are probably going to be the ones that we judge, and maybe if you're a fan of a different team, we might judge your GM more on the second and third round picks than you do the first, because the second and third round picks are incredibly important to these teams. Like, these are the ones that have to pan out.
Mm-hmm.
If your first round guy pans out, what you really need from your first rounder is to be a star.
Yeah.
Really want him to be like that, potentially a franchise guy. Like, it doesn't have to be the number 1 overall pick. Like, we all love Frank Ragnow here in Detroit because he's just an absolute dog. Like, he's a mauler on the offensive line, but he wasn't selected first overall.
Yeah.
He was selected in the middle of the first round, I think 18th or something like that. Back in 2017 or 2018, I think. Um,
Jameer Gibbs being like
yeah, Jameer Gibbs
that.
was,
That's
was 12th.
yeah. That's gonna be very interesting in a few years.
I
So
think if you did a redraft
yeah,
of last year, you probably put Jameer Gibbs in the top 10.
yeah.
Maybe you don't even put B. John in the top 10, or if you do, who do you put ahead of Gibbs?
Yeah.
Do you put B. John ahead of Gibbs? I wouldn't.
No.
I mean,
No.
I
I
feel like
mean,
Gibbs showed me
yeah.
more.
Yeah. I think the jury's still out there. I mean, but yeah, we as Lions fans really love, Jameer Gibbs over here, but we'll see here in a few years because the jury, like, we don't necessarily pay running backs.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, he's fun to have.
Yeah, he's fun to have.
Definitely.
With at least 5 years team control, as long as he doesn't hold out.
Yeah.
Right. But that's kind of where I love Jameer Gibbs, and I liked him as a college player. I just didn't like him or love him in the first round because I don't like paying guys, and there's a reason why the league doesn't like paying running backs. It's because after about 4 or 5 years, which is their first contract, when it ends, that's when physically, and it's nothing against the veteran running backs personally. It's just after that first contract, it's typically when physically they just stop performing like they used to when they were a rookie or their second, third, fourth year.
Yeah.
Because it's just like you get the crap beat out of you every week.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like it's one of the most brutal positions to play in the NFL. There's some guys that are able to play longer than others, like
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry is going to be able to because he's just a large human being. He probably takes a beating.
Oh yeah.
But he probably dishes out more of a beating than he takes sometimes.
Christian McCaffrey too. I mean,
yeah, McCaffrey. I think
early start of his career with Carolina, he was banged up a little bit, but
yeah,
good offensive line.
Near the end of his contract, that's when he started getting the injuries. But I actually don't think the injuries necessarily hurt him in the long run because that actually is saving him now.
Yeah,
because that was just all that time that he had off from the ACL injuries or the other leg injury that he sustained, where he was out for a portion of the year. I don't remember which year it was.
I think, but yeah,
he that actually saved his legs because you look at running backs in the draft now. There's going to be some running backs that are taken that don't necessarily put up crazy stats.
Mm-hmm.
They don't put up the 5-6 yards per carry in college like you think a top end running back would put up, but it's about tread on the tires too. That's why I personally wouldn't take Blake Corum super high in this draft, even though he's an incredibly valuable running back in the draft and for a NFL team. He just has so many college rushing attempts and college rushing yards, and then on top of that, the knee injury. At the end of last year, you saw what it looked like this year when he was supposedly fully healthy, and he just didn't have the same bursts as before. Yeah, and that's a very real issue with running backs in the NFL. Yeah, so it's tough. I hope Gibbs. Hope he stays explosive because that's his deal. That's if he's not explosive, I don't know how he survives in the league. Yeah, I just my other thing is there's a pretty steep learning curve with the running backs because of that. Like you have to kind of grow up real quick, and I feel like he did that throughout the year.
And you still have Jack Campbell as well. It's also a first round because I believe yes. Yeah. So. But that's a different.
Well, Jack, yeah. I'd rather have Kalijah Kancey. So second round. You want to pull up? You have it on your phone, right?
Yeah.
So so let's go through yours first.
Yeah.
So pull up some of your highlights, I'd say, and including your Lions pick for the second and third round.
I had Mikey Sandestril going 39 to Carolina. Kamari Lassiter falling. Some people have him going high as late first round. But I have Roman Wilson going to the Colts, another guy. My second round quarterback off the board, Spencer Rattler, to Vegas. I do not have Vegas taking quarterback.
Vegas, huh?
Yeah, I do not have Vegas taking a quarterback in the first round.
That's true, you didn't.
So that was another.
You had him taking Quinyon, right?
Yeah. Okay. So, and then for the Lions, I had them taking an edge, Marshawn Nealon from Western Michigan, because obviously, the big needs, being corner, wide receiver, edge, even throwing offensive line. So
let's pause there real quick. I want to look up Nealon because I like him as a player.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just my thing with him is his size a little bit. I'm looking up his stats right now. It says he's 6'3", 275.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's what he actually clocked in at the combine because, we saw this a lot at the combine where guys would be listed at 6'3" or something or 6'2". Like I think it was either Chop Robinson or Adisa Isaac that was listed at 6'3", and he measured it like 6 foot.
Yeah.
So these these teams do this. They exaggerate a little bit. Like, was JJ really? I forgot what his weight was on the Michigan website, but it wasn't close.
Yeah.
He put on weight. So, that's just what these teams do. But I'm looking up Marshawn Nealon right now on the tracker because I want to see what his actual weight is. But I thought he was a little undersized.
He and James Houston, I think, are about the same build of player, and I just think
there as well. I don't think he's a one trick.
Marshawn is, a guy who could be serviceable next. You have a guy like James Houston on the other side of Aiden, and then you add in a guy like another guy like Marshawn Nealon, who it definitely will help, and they definitely need that. And I think Marshawn is more of a speed guy off the edge, just like James Houston. So
yeah, he is. You're in a 4.75 40-yard dash.
Yep.
According to the NFL Combine, he's the number 1 athleticism score. That's pretty impressive.
Yep.
So we actually had someone. When was Josh Paschal drafted?
3rd round, I think.
Second round.
Second round.
What year? Was it the same year as Aiden, or was it the year after, or year before?
No, 8.
Because he had a high athleticism score as well. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
He had a high IQ score and a high athleticism score.
I don't remember
that much. I do remember. And again, we're still waiting on Paschal to kind of wake up. But Marshawn, hometown Grand Rapids.
Yep.
So that's cool. I wonder if he's a Lions fan. Like, if he grew up a Lions fan, or if he grew up like a Packer or a Bears fan. Because I know some people on the west side of Michigan, believe it or not, they're actually not Lions fans. They're closer to Chicago or closer to Green Bay.
I don't know.
That'd be interesting to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6'3", 267 is what his measurables were at the combine. Arms are 34.5 inches long. And he has these tiny hands, 9 1/8. But yeah, a little what was Aiden? What was Aiden? Let's look up what's Aiden Hutchinson's build here. Yeah, I'd be curious to compare the two. 6'7", 269.
Similar in weight.
Similar weight, just a little shorter.
Right.
Yeah. And then you look at Marcus Davenport, he's 6'8".
Yeah.
Or something like that. So instead of fact checking us, I decided I'm just going to have my laptop. I'm going to just look stuff up here, right now. So we don't have to wait till episode 2. And I didn't fact check anything from last time, so there's that. Yeah, Marcus Davenport, who I'm not a big fan of by always 6'6". Okay, I'm giving him way too much credit. Not a big fan of the Marcus Davenport signing, but I'll leave that be. But yeah, Marshawn Nealon, second pick.
Yep.
For the Lions. All right, continue onward.
So you get into the third round. I had Keon Coleman falling all the way down to the early third round, is like to New England. Blake Corum, we have this bet, but I have him going to the Chargers there at 69. And he's actually one of the first running backs I have off the board. Bucky Irving followed him by 2 picks. Arizona. And then you have the Lions again, and I have them taking another slot receiver in Malachi Corley.
Love it.
I love Corley. 5'11", 5'10", something like that.
I'm gonna look him up. I love Malachi Corley.
He's fun. So
he's
definitely
awesome.
So Braylon Trice falling all the way down to Atlanta, 74. Johnny Wilson to Pittsburgh.
That's a good spot for him.
We'll talk more about him here shortly. At least I will. And then Eric All going to Tampa Bay. I know we'll also get to him too. But
Eric All, what a bum.
The last pick in the third round.
Seen one.
Yeah. Last pick in the third round, tackle Matt Goncaves from Pittsburgh to Washington. So that's kind of like the highlights there. Yeah. So Malachi Corley, I think he'd be a.
Yeah.
It's just the question is you have 2 slot guys in Amon-Ra, and if you draft Malachi, like where does he fall? Because what happens to Amon-Ra? He's not moving from the slot, and Malachi, he's not like a guy you just throw out an outside. I mean, he's a little short, but
yeah, he's a little undersized to be putting out on the outside. He's 5'11".
Yeah,
but he's 200 pounds, so he's a bit of a tank.
Yeah,
and that's what he did. I mean, he's very shifty. Did have I do recall him having a lot of drops.
Yeah, that's
college,
that's the thing about him.
Yeah, that's the only downside to him of the drops, because the rest of it is crazy. His stats last year were 79 receptions on 115 targets. Now, mind you, this is Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
Western Kentucky throws a lot. That's why Bailey Zappi got drafted by the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
And torched the Lions. But we'll digress from that, sorry.
I'll also add one more thing back from the second round. I had Dallas taking a quarterback in Michael Pratt. So.
Well, you love Michael Pratt.
Yeah.
You're in love with the Tulane Green Wave boy.
Yep. So.
79 receptions on 115 targets, 985 receiving yards, 11 touchdowns. It's the second straight year with 11 touchdowns. The previous year, he had 101 receptions.
That's good. Yeah, that's really good.
On 137 targets, 1,282 yards, 11 touchdowns. So the production is there.
Yeah.
And he primarily lined up in the slot. He only had 50 wide snaps this past year, and then 40 wide snaps. So he's definitely a slot. He's not going to be the X in your lineup, but at the same time, do you really need him to play that? No, you don't, because you could easily have Malachi Corley in one slot on one side of the line and Amon-Ra on the other side in the slot, or you could put Amon-Ra outside if you prefer.
You could also put J-Mo in the slot.
You can put. Well, you can put. I mean, let's just put everybody in the slot. Let's just have slot receivers. That's it. Nobody outside.
Yeah.
But no, I think J-Mo. Okay, I personally, so I'll. I know you just went through yours.
Yep.
Again, mine is on my phone, and I'm an idiot, and I forgot. I'm using it to record. So, Hi, I'm Teo. But no, I remember my picks for the Lions. So first round was Kamari last year, so I switched it from last time with Brian Thomas to Kamari last year. So that's first round. So second round, you address the wide receiver position and you take Javon Baker. Javon Baker is a wide receiver out of Central Florida. Had a phenomenal year. His last 2 years are as such, 2023, excuse me. 52 receptions on 84 targets. Remember, he's playing in Central Florida. This isn't freaking LSU here. Okay, he doesn't have an elite quarterback throwing to him, but he had 1,139 yards, which is an average of 22 yards per reception.
Wow.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Even if you chop that in half, right? Let's just say there's a curve. For year 1, year 2, there's a curve. You chop that in half. That's 11 yards of reception in the NFL. That's a first down every catch. I'll take that. Easy. He had 7 touchdowns last year. So 2022, he had 56 receptions on 100 targets. So basically half the times he was thrown to, he didn't catch it. Right. But again, did he have elite quarterback play? Do you know who Central Florida's quarterback is? Did he get drafted? No. He sucks. Yeah. So 796 yards and 5 touchdowns. So there's growth. So that's what I like about Javon. And there's obviously the targets were plentiful for him, so he had a lot of opportunity to catch the ball. And he didn't have as many receptions last year, but his reception to target ratio went up, which is good, and his yards went up, and his average per reception went up, which is awesome. The touchdowns, they are what they are, but he had a 56% contested catch rate. That's what kind of drew me into him. Aside from his, I think he's 6'1", 6'2", so he's got really good height. I'm actually gonna fact check that.
Yeah,
because I think he was another one that actually had his height listed as one thing in college, and then we come back and it's not the same. Javon Baker, he had a pretty good grade on the NFL Combine site, which is what I use to get some intelligence. Yeah, 6'1", 202. So we've got the size.
Yeah,
there's no issue there. He did run he ran a 4.5 40-yard, which not ideal, but again, not everybody can fly like the wind here. But
right.
I want him for his red zone presence because we need an additional red zone presence. If our red zone presence is just
Sam Laporta,
then I think you might be in trouble. And when I say red zone presence, I mean the ability to be one-on-one in a tight space. You're not going to be, at least not all the time, if teams pressure you, you're going to have less time to get open.
Yeah.
You're going to have less opportunity to make a move.
What's Antoine Green's height? Is it because he could also? Yeah, because the jury said he was a 5th or 6th round. Yeah,
he's 6'2".
Last year. He's 6'2". Okay.
Yeah, 198.
It just comes to mind too because he could be somebody you throw in the mix as well this year. But if he didn't play at all last year,
so he only had 1 reception last year. 1 reception for 2 yards.
Yeah.
So I'm not throwing him out there yet. I'm not depending on on him. I wish I could, but I don't think I can. But I love Javon Baker because of his height. And then for the
3rd round.
Yes, the 3rd round pick. Yes. I had the Lions taking. You know what? I actually might have it in my. I actually might have what I put here. Hold, please. I'm looking it up. No, I don't. But I can tell you who I have them taken. So you had them taking Marshawn Nealand.
In the 2nd round, yes.
In the 2nd round. Yep. I have them taking Muhammad Kamara out of Colorado State.
Okay.
I like Kamara because he's a very high motor guy. He's definitely the pass rush. He's not really going to do much for you in terms of the run game. Now I talked about being undersized. What's his name being undersized? But Kamara he is also undersized as well. But his game is just pure speed pass rush.
Yeah.
And my thinking with this pick for the Lions is if he can just 3rd and long, I need you to just go out there and literally just run past the tackle.
Yeah.
Just literally. Don't try to bull rush like Aiden. Like Aiden has the bull rush move that is he's one of the best at it, along with Micah Parsons. Just whether you go inside or you go outside, just rush the quarterback. That's all I need you to do.
Yep.
And we have James Houston to do that right now on one side of the line. I'm interested in what happens when Davenport gets hurt, or when James Houston gets hurt again, or Pascal gets hurt, because all those guys have injury issues.
Yeah.
Davenport hasn't been healthy the last year or two.
Yep.
James Houston was, played really well his rookie year. Then last year wasn't healthy. Pascal, injury issues. Didn't start, his rookie year. He didn't start because of injuries. So it's like, you can never have enough edge rushers in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Just like you can never have enough corners in the NFL. So that's why we just need a pure pass rusher outside of Aiden, because Aiden does it all. He intercepts passes. He, we've seen him drop back, fake a rush and drop back into coverage. He can do everything.
Oh yeah.
So in the third round, you're probably not drafting that at this point with this draft class of edge rushers, which is very top heavy in my opinion. I mean, you have Latu, you have Jared Verse, you have
Dallas Turner,
Chris Braswell, Darius Robinson, the kid from Washington,
Brandon Trice.
So it's like
Adisa Isaac.
Yeah, Adisa Isaac, I guess. I'm not.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not a fan, but very top heavy. So if you don't decide to take them in the first or second round, your edge rushers are probably the top end edge rushers are probably gonna be gone in the third.
Mm-hmm.
With the Lions pick, which I think is 72, 73,
73.
something like that. So I'm I want somebody to be good at one thing. I don't want at this point in the third round, I just want somebody that's like really great at one thing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to be awesome at everything. So that's where I'm at. Now I had where did you have Spencer Rattler going?
I had him going
because I'm actually a
44 to Vegas.
Okay, so I'm a big I like Spencer Rattler a lot.
Big arm.
Yeah. And I actually have him going to who's picking pick 70? That's who I have him going to.
New York Giants.
Yes. So I don't have the Giants taking quarterback in the first or the second round. The first round I have him taking Talia Suaga. In the second round I have him taking the linebacker Peyton Wilson to line up alongside Brian Burns. So they are or they aren't. I mean, who knows at this point? It's the Giants. They're one of the most poorly run organizations since Eli Manning was since he left, since he retired. One of the most poorly run NFL franchises since then. And I think with enough time and patience from an ownership group, I think Spencer Rattler can. I'm not saying he's going to be like the next Dak Prescott, because who wants to be the next Dak Prescott? Play however many years he's been in the league, 5 or 6 years, 7 years at least, and then not win anything over that period of time. One playoff game? Yeah. 2 playoff games, I think. So it's like, I'm not saying he can be the next Dak Prescott, but that's my projection for him. Is like that kind of quarterback. He was a little mobile in college, which is nice. Remember, he was highly recruited. He initially played at Oklahoma. Was it USC? I thought it was Oklahoma. Here, let's fact check. I could have swore it was Oklahoma. But
I think you might be right.
I think he played for 3 different teams. Because he played for Oklahoma and then South Carolina, right?
Yeah, those 2 definitely. But after,
well, he's playing for South Carolina now, but he used to play for Oklahoma. That's when I think Jalen. He came after Jalen Hurts.
Yes, because he got hurt, and then Caleb Williams came in, I think, right?
Yeah.
And then Caleb went to USC.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think he's got enough college experience. He went through that phase where some quarterbacks they're a little overhyped coming out of high school, like Arch Manning, a little overhyped. Then they go to college and they have to, I don't want to say relearn the game, but they have to kind of humble themselves, bring themselves back down to earth.
Yeah.
And kind of redefine themselves, but not really. And that's what he was able to do at South Carolina. He really showed a lot to me personally. in that Georgia game this past year, where South Carolina lost because South Carolina just sucks in general. But you remember he had
He put the team on his back.
he had to because they had
yeah.
a plethora of injuries this year. I mean, they had I think they had over 150 games lost, which is nuts for a college team because you only play 12 games. I mean, they had a ton of injuries to the offensive line. He was missing for a little while. I think Xavier Legette wasn't fully healthy this entire season either. I love Xavier Legette too. So I think he's a really good quarterback. I would have loved to have him in Michigan. I was very jealous of Oklahoma initially when they got Spencer Rattler. We were stuck with freaking who was that, John O'Corn? No, Shea Patterson. Shea Patterson, yeah. What a bum. So yeah, so those are our picks for the Lions and a couple of highlights. I did want to highlight one other guy. Who is where are the Houston? Houston has like 1 million picks in the top 100.
Yeah.
They're picking 83rd, 84th.
They are picking
because I have
86th.
86th.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have them taking, if you can believe it. So they have Tank Dell. They have Nico Collins.
Yep.
Who's their other wide receiver?
Stephon Diggs.
So what do? You're in a wide receiver deep draft. You have one of the best young quarterbacks since Russell Wilson.
I can understand them taking a wide receiver because the Stephon Diggs trade is only a 1-year deal.
Correct. And they switched it to that.
Yeah. Because it's basically
they're babying Stephon Diggs because you have to do that with a baby. You have to baby a baby.
So you have him taking a wide receiver.
I have him taking a wide receiver. So this is the 3rd round?
Yep.
Okay. Who do you think is going to be available in the 3rd round?
Roman Wilson, maybe. A guy like him.
Yeah.
Possibly. I mean, guy out of North Carolina, Devontae Walker.
Yeah. Possibly.
In terms of wide receivers,
yeah.
Jamari Thrash, maybe Johnny Wilson, depending on who you talk to. I don't know. Maybe. How
about a guy from Washington?
Jalen McMillan. Yeah.
So my theory with this is, so first off, I love CJ Stroud. I love them over Bryce Young 2 years ago when they drafted, or
yeah,
2 years ago, or
last
year.
Last year.
I love CJ Stroud. I would have taken CJ Stroud over Bryce Young 10 times out of 10. So you have a position group that is arguably your strongest strength on offense.
Mm-hmm.
You got Stephon Diggs, but he's only there for a year. I highly doubt he's coming back.
Yeah.
So you re-signed Dalton Schultz, I think, to a 3-year deal. So you have a tight end. They signed a running back.
Yep. Mixon.
Was it Mixon?
Yeah.
That was so long ago.
Yep.
Was it really Mixon? Oh, geez. I mean, he's old, too, though. He's like 28. For running back, that's old for a running back.
They got rid of Dameon Pierce? Or do they still have
him?
Singletary left.
I think Dingleberry left. He went to the Giants.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. No, they still have Dameon Pierce.
Who was a 1st round or 2nd round last 2 years ago? I think.
2nd round.
2nd round.
Yeah. Out of Florida? Oh, yeah, Florida. I'm so good. See, that I can remember, but I don't remember what year CJ Stroud was drafted. That's awesome. So you have Joe Mixon. So you're right. You're set on running back.
Yeah.
The offensive line is good, right? Juice is good. Kenyon Green was a revelation. Shaq Mason's good. Titus Howard. They have a great offensive line. They're good.
Yep.
So
defensively,
they're stud muffins all over the place. Yep. You have Daniil Hunter. They signed him for 2 years, $50 million. Fatu Kasi is a veteran. He's good. Will Anderson, obviously.
Corners, they're young, but they're good. Safeties.
Do you know who they signed? Remember who they got? Corner. Do you remember?
No.
Noted scumbag here in Detroit for being a bust.
Oh yeah, Jeff Okudah, 1-year deal.
Yeah, Jeff Okuda.
Yeah.
What a joke, dude.
Yep.
You know, it's not his fault. Again, I mean, Buckeye, so screw you, Jeff Okuda. But not his fault he was drafted 3rd overall. Not his fault he got hurt. Not his fault he's made out of paper mache. But my goodness, what a bust.
Mm-hmm.
But that's who they have. They picked him up. And I had him, they have to take a corner because you can't start Jeff Okuda. You have Derek Stingley on one side, who you drafted 3rd overall.
Yep.
Also 3rd overall. So they have number 3
Desmond
overall
King.
picks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Desmond King. If he can stay healthy, he's good. I know they've invested a lot in corner over the last 5-10 years. But
so you haven't taken a wide receiver.
I haven't taken a wide receiver in the 3rd round, but it's that Jalen McMillan's a monster. I love the three-headed monster that Washington had, and that's why I think Michael Penix.
It was 2-headed for a long time because of injury.
Yeah, because of injury, and he showed out.
Yeah,
he showed up. So I think if you put McMillan in Houston, I think McMillan is like a fantasy monster easily. And that was another pick that I loved. Like if they can get a wide receiver, it doesn't have to be in the 3rd round. It could even be before that if they wanted to. You can add a wide receiver to just like kind of ride on Stephon Diggs' coattails too. I think you're potentially looking at a Super Bowl team there because like they were just a monolith last year, man. They were crazy good. And of course the Chiefs dynasty is potentially ending here pretty soon with Mahomes not having any options because Rashee Rice decided to race on the freeway.
Yep.
So now who knows? He's up in the air, and then the Kansas City Chiefs got Hollywood Brown, but like again, we talked about this before. He lost Snead to the Titans, so they have a lot of holes to fill. So I think Houston, whatever their betting odds are, like definitely look that up.
Yep.
But yeah, so and our 3-round mocks, they're never going to be even close to being accurate.
It's tough to.
Because these teams are just taking guys from Yale, taking guys from South Dakota State.
Yeah,
who actually I would actually. Oh yeah, I mean you're Mr. Michael Pratt over here.
Yeah.
Isaiah Davis, who I love. You know what? This is probably a good segue into our
sleepers.
So we each picked 5 sleepers that we think. That are day 3, guys that are projected to go day 3 potentially.
Yeah.
Because who knows? But day 3 guys that we think, or possibly early day, or late day 2. I'll give us that 3rd round or later.
Yeah.
I think is fairly reasonable for a sleeper, even though they're very important picks. Late 3rd round I think is okay, which is where one of my sleepers is, who I have going to the Lions. I'm a little biased, I know. But let's go with sleepers. So with those parameters.
Is it all 5 right now?
Yeah, you list your 5, I'll list my 5.
All right, so I got my first guy is Notre Dame running back Aldrick Estime.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know how he projected to go in
day 3.
Day 3.
Yeah.
That's nuts to me.
So, I mean, depending on where he goes, that could be a really cool fantasy option. Defensive lineman Mekhi Wingo from LSU. I really like his length and his just a good defensive lineman up front. You pair it with him anybody. Johnny Dixon, corner.
Johnny Dixon.
Yeah.
Corner out of.
Is it Louisville? I think so.
Why does it sound familiar? Other than him being in the draft.
6'1", good height, good build.
Johnny Dixon?
Yeah.
Corner?
Yep.
Penn State.
Yeah.
And that's why. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
They had a very good secondary this year.
They did, yeah.
And he was led by it. And I don't know why he's falling down, but
yeah, him and Calvin King.
Yeah. So I have also Michigan guy, linebacker Michael Barrett. He could be a good guy to throw.
No, I'm kidding.
To throw either in pass coverage or just the run game.
Yeah.
Then
he was clutch in the playoffs.
And then I'll throw this. I'm going to talk about him more in a minute, but Johnny Wilson. I don't think he is a wide receiver. I think you change his position, make him a tight end.
Oh God,
with
Teddy.
6'7". He is 6'7", the tallest wide receiver.
Oh, I know he's 6. I mean, he's huge.
He's got good hands. You know,
It's-
Jordan Travis loved him.
And that's the other thing. Like, so this is I'll get to mine in a minute. But
Yeah.
like, I love Jordan Travis,
Mhm.
and I love the weapons that he has. I actually really like the Florida State Mike Norvell led Florida State team this past year. I thought they were gonna be a real big problem. Like if Michigan had to play Florida State with Jordan Travis, like if Jordan Travis doesn't get hurt, they're the number 14.
Yeah,
easy.
That would have been fun.
It's
a lot of fun.
Michigan, Florida State, and then who was it? Washington, Texas.
Yeah,
like peak college football.
Yep.
Like that would have been insane. I think it would have been a better game actually than Michigan and Alabama.
Yeah.
And that game was phenomenal. That was a phenomenal football game. Like I don't care who you root for.
But I think the only way that Johnny Wilson is he's a dark horse tight end. If you throw him in as a tight end,
He could be a tight end.
That could be fun.
He's a big boy too.
Yep.
Let me look up his weight for you real quick.
6'7", 2. I don't know. It's 2 something. 220 something. 225.
He's a monster. Him and Keon on the same team was
Man.
fair. Or so we thought.
225, I think, something like that. I don't know.
Oh, where is he? Johnny. You said Johnny Wilson, right?
Yeah.
I get Johnny and Keon.
And his build, I mean, it's similar.
6'6", 230. That's a freaking tight.
That's Kelvin numbers type thing.
I mean, it is,
Like the build. So like you talk about red zone
He didn't have the
threat.
speed.
Yeah.
I mean, who had the Calvin Johnson speed at 6?
No. I mean,
6'5", you know,
but
4.5 40 yard. That's still pretty.
you
good.
bring you talk about red zone threat with the Lions. You could put you draft him. That could be.
I would say Keon in the second. I'm not big on
Wilson.
I'm not big on oversized wide receivers. I want a wide receiver like max 6'4". Like Calvin was in and out. Like you might never see another wide receiver like Calvin Johnson ever again in the NFL. Because we thought, oh, look at DK Metcalf. He's like, he's bricked up.
Yeah.
And then he's out there, and I mean, maybe that has to do with Geno Smith being his quarterback.
Yeah.
But he's out there, and most of the time, you don't even know if he's playing. And I know
the Lions do.
Fantasy.
The Lions know. Every time he's been playing against the Lions, they'll tire him up.
This year's going to be different. We're going to kill Seattle.
Yes.
In Seattle.
No, it's in Detroit.
Is it?
It's in Detroit.
No, they're going to 12 man.
No. It's in Detroit.
Right, we're going to fact check this. I could have swore they were.
It's a home game, I believe.
What? They can't do 3 years in a row. No, see, it's a. Oh, wait, where is it? Oh, is it?
Yeah.
How?
3 years in a row.
No way, dude. 3 years in a row?
Yeah.
Look at this. Okay, I'm looking up on this really crappy website, so I'm sorry. Okay, so they're at Ford Field in 2022. That was the infamous Dan Campbell game where he went for it on every fourth down and didn't kick field goals. And then they lost in overtime again because he went for it on every fourth down and didn't kick field goals. That was at Ford Field. Okay, that was 2023. Okay, 2024. Obviously, the schedule is not out yet. We just know who they're playing. We don't know where. Ford Field. Holy crap.
Yep.
Seattle's got to be pissed about that, man. I would be livid.
Oh, yeah.
Going to okay, now, if Seattle beats Detroit again, if I'm trying to never schedule Seattle in our building ever again.
Yeah.
I'd rather travel to the West Coast and take my chance there.
But I think the only way Johnny Wilson is a serviceable player is he's a tight end. So
that's a real probability, Teddy. I kind of like that, the little tight end comp you just did. I like that. Okay, so you did your sleepers. I'll do mine real quick.
Yep.
Okay, so the first 3 are offensive players. Then the last 2 are defensive player. So I just said I love Jordan Travis. Coming off of a broken leg.
Yep.
I like Jordan Travis because if he doesn't break his leg, he's in that category of top 5, top 10 pick. Someone's moving up to trade for him. I don't maybe not top 3 because that's seemingly Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and for some reason Drake May. I don't.
Yeah,
I'm still.
yeah.
The more I think about it, the more I'm starting to wonder what people see in Drake May. I just don't see it. Yeah. So Jordan Travis may have infiltrated the top, the top 3 quarterbacks if he was still healthy, because he was putting up gaudy numbers at Florida State. I mean, he was putting up Jaden Daniel level numbers. But the injuries, it's killed his chances of being a first round pick, because nobody's gonna take a chance on a guy that potentially might not play football. Like that again. His ability to run the football too out of the pocket was incredible. So he's my this is in no particular order, but just one of the sleepers. My favorite sleeper in the draft, I mentioned Isaiah Davis earlier from San Diego. Sorry, not San Diego State. South Dakota State. It has same acronym. But South Dakota State is Isaiah Davis. And the reason why I love Isaiah Davis is because he has size. He's like 6 foot, 200 pounds. But he also runs. If you ever watch Isaiah Davis running, just look up on YouTube. There's an Isaiah Davis highlight reel. He runs, he moves, he jukes, a lot like Christian McCaffrey. I sent this to a couple of my cousins. I was like, because I was just looking up like random player. I'm a complete degenerate when it comes to the draft. So it's like in January or February after the Lions lost, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do a deep dive into some of these guys. So I was looking at some, just obscure players, and Isaiah Davis came up, and I'm like, all right, let's watch this. Let's watch this highlight reel. And I was like, is this Isaiah Davis or Christian McCaffrey highlights from Stanford? And then I looked, and I'm like, he's just a little taller version of him. That's what he looks like. Now, he's not putting up the numbers like him, but he has a great motor, and he's scheduled to be like a 4th or 5th round pick, potentially. And I love him. So look him up, and you tell me if I'm on crack. I think he looks like freaking Christian McCaffrey. All right. My third sleeper is Jalen Coker, wide receiver out of Holy freaking Cross. Holy Cross, Teddy. I'm going to Holy Cross. I don't even know where Holy Cross is on a map. Yeah. I don't know what city or state it's in. I couldn't care less. I love Jalen Coker. He's 6'3", 215 pounds. Put up great numbers. And again, my thing with, I'd love it if the Lions took him like later round, 4th or 5th round, if they didn't address wide receiver earlier in the draft. Because again, 50% contested catch rate. When there's probably in man coverage or even in zone coverage, if someone is contesting your catch, putting a hand out in front of you, half the time he catches it, and that's pretty phenomenal because the average isn't 50%, something like 30 or 40%. So
yeah,
59 catches, 1,000 yards, 15 touchdowns, 2nd straight year with double-digit touchdowns. So he's a problem, and again, he could add to the red zone threat for the Lions. Or any team. I'm thinking Lions. I would love it if the Lions could take any of these guys. Obviously, I don't know if they take Isaiah Davis. They already have 3 running backs. And don't take Jordan Travis, Brad Holmes. We already have one quarterback you drafted we're not ever going to freaking use. All right, Tyler Davis, defensive tackle out of Clemson. He's a bit of a unit, and I like him because, again, high motor, put up stats, great with pass rush out of an interior lineman. But for some reason he's projected in the 4th or 5th round. I'm like, I can't figure it out. I don't know if it's this draft isn't really, again, it's top heavy with the interior guys. I would have put Sweat in there.
Yeah,
Chris Jenkins out of Michigan was a problem. And I'm missing somebody else. Jerzon Newton and Byron Murphy out of Texas. He doesn't crack the top 4 or 5, but he's like, in my opinion, he should be higher. I mean, he put up some really good performances this year and not getting enough love. So he's another one. And then the 5th one, who I already spoiled, is Muhammad Kamara, who I would take earlier because I value his high motor and his ability to pass rush. But he's projected in, like, again, the 4th, 5th, possibly even as late as the 6th round. I've seen 4th through 6th round. So, eh, again, do you value undersized guys that are really great at one thing? I don't know. I do, and I think in the NFL, if you can just develop one part of your game, if you're really great at one, take the first few years to develop another part of your game, and you can turn out to be a serviceable player in the NFL. So those are my 5 sleepers.
Yeah.
And then let's go to. So how do you want to word this? Because I said bust because I'm a terrible human being.
Yeah.
You said yeah, so I think
I'll take
I
bust.
think I am a.
No. We'll say bust.
You say bust?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was gonna say maybe overhyped or overrated because I don't think
Overhyped. Bust.
some of the guys on my list are bust necessarily. Eric, you are a bust. You're gonna be. I don't care if you're playing in the UFL.
I have him on
in the
my list.
XFL, in the CFL. That's the Canadian Football League.
Yeah.
Or if you ever get a player in Madden, you're gonna be like whatever the lowest overall is, 51 overall,
something like that. Yeah,
that's you, dude. So you're a bust. You're overrated. You're overhyped. You're just a bum. That's my opinion on Eric All. Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah. So he was on my list. I have 5. I don't know if we'll go.
Wait, Eric All is on your overrated /
yes,
bust
tiny
list?
hands. Tiny hands.
No, he does that
Just
tiny
call
hands.
him tiny hands. Drake May's on my list. I
I
have him going to
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
So I don't blame you.
I have him going to Minnesota. I just don't. After watching him, some of the film, I don't know.
So would you say that he's a bust if he's taken in high in the first round because he's probably not going to have time to develop behind another court? Like if he's going to Minnesota,
he's going to be number 1.
I think he could potentially be number 1. Because they have Sam Darnold.
Yeah, but I think he'll beat out Sam Darnold.
But it also depends on if they trade up.
If they
Worst case scenario, they trade up to like 4 or 5,
right,
and take Drake May.
Yeah.
Then you're saying bust alert.
Yeah,
big time. Okay.
I mean, well, I would say regardless of where he goes, because you have a phenomenal receiver in Justin Jefferson, but Justin Jefferson already said he likes a few quarterbacks in this draft class, and he wouldn't really want to play with, anybody besides, Jaden Daniels, maybe even Michael Penix. So you put him over there. I don't know. It's just I'm just not completely sold. I have Mikey Sanders still.
Whoa!
Yeah, 5'10".
You can't say that about Mikey Sanders still.
He's a slot guy, but I could also see him being a special teamer at best.
He's like
high motor,
5'8", 5'9". I just don't know how his game
translates.
Is going to translate. Like he has to play considerably bigger than what he actually is. Which,
right.
Again, it's not like it'd be the first time that's ever happened in NFL history.
For Michigan, he played great. He was phenomenal for Michigan. But I don't know if like you said, his game doesn't translate. I have, what else do I have on here? Will Shipley. He's like we talked about. He's more of a guy out of the backfield, like catching the ball on like a third down type thing. But I just don't know if his game translates as much. He was phenomenal at Clemson.
He's like Rex Burkhead 2.0.
Yeah.
A little bit bigger Rex Burkhead.
And then finally, Johnny Wilson. If he's a wide receiver, you can forget about it. But if he's a tight end, hey, there's definitely a lot of potential there. But
yeah,
so
that's a good list. In my list, I'm just gonna, I can't elaborate on this enough because I'll be here all day. And I'll take up everyone's time. Okay. Obviously, we all know I adored JJ McMeditate while he was at Michigan. And yes, did he win a national championship at Michigan? Yes, he did. Did they win the championship because of him? No, they didn't. Oh, but he threw 3 touchdowns with the Rosebuds. You see that, Taylor? Or like however many touchdowns he threw. First off, it was 3 now that I think about it. So the Blake Corum first one, when he was wide open, Alabama just said, you know what? Blake Corum's caught like 2 passes all year. We're not going to cover him in the freaking middle of the end zone. So that was easy. The second one to I forget his name. Number 8 or whatever, Morgan or Bell or not Bell.
I know they had one was to a tight end. Loveland or something.
No,
But-
no, actually he didn't.
No?
No. Because the second one was to a wide receiver. So he ran a crossing route across the middle. He threw it to him, and then the guy ran along the sideline 35 yards. Or
Okay.
whatever. He literally threw the ball 5 yards from the line of scrimmage, and then the guy did the rest. Okay, good job, JJ. And then the third one, in the fourth quarter, where he made the two easiest throws on fourth down. Well, he made one throw on fourth down, and that play was third down, I think, third and goal. To Roman Wilson, where he ran, they did play fake, ran the underneath, he was wide open because Alabama was like, you know what, you're free to go in the end zone, no big deal. I just, again, I don't get, and it's not overrated. Again, if he gets drafted in the early first, like the top half of the first round, it's probably because a team needs a quarterback. They need him to start ASAP, so they're going to rush him. Or he's not going to have the 1 or 2 years that I think he needs in order to put on some weight, increase his arm strength, increase his accuracy. He's a pretty accurate thrower by Michigan standards.
Yeah.
If I want to compare him to Wilton Spate or Shea Patterson or Stephen Threet or Tate Forcier, throwback to the garbage bin.
O'Corn, yeah.
Who?
O'Corn. Yeah.
John O'Corn was sweet at Houston. Okay, I don't want to hear it. And I know Uncle Chewy's like, oh yeah, you liked it. You're boy John O'Corn. No, I didn't want Shea Patterson. That's the difference. Anyway, sorry Theo, if you're watching. I just don't think if he's a first round, like a high first round pick, he's on bust alert for sure. That's where I'm coming from. If he gets drafted late in the first by a team as a quarterback, let's say he's there by some miracle, teams are like, you know what, we're not buying Jim Harbaugh's hype. And Dallas is like, you know what, we don't feel like, going along with Dak Prescott any longer.
We got Trey Lance.
Dallas is like, oh God, Trey Lance? Yeah. Oh God.
They have Trey Lance.
Another overrated quarterback.
Yeah.
But, okay, so that's actually a good comparison because Trey Lance wasn't like Jamarcus Russell, but he also wasn't Brock Purdy by some crazy standard. Like J.J. McCarthy is either like Justin Herbert or he's Trey Lance. I don't think there's no middle ground.
Yeah.
There's no Daniel Jones. There's no Derek Carr. There's no think of an average mid quarterback. There's no Kyler Murray. There's no Kirk Cousins.
Or even Geno.
There's no Geno. Yeah. Geno's a good example. There's none of that in his game. I think he's going to be either great or not. Second, overrated, bust, whatever you want to call it. Well, I'm calling him a bust because Eric All's a freaking bum. Eric All, you suck. I've already elaborated on that in Teddy's session, so I'm not going to really take up too much time to tell you again that you suck. Eric All sucks. And whether he's drafted in the first round, which he won't be, of course, or the seventh round, or if he's selected in the supplementary draft after the initial draft, or whether he's selected in the CFL or the UFL, he's going to fail. Because that's what he does. You're a failure. You drop everything in your path. Everything that's thrown to you, you drop it.
Yeah.
You know, I know what else he dropped? He dropped a cough drop. That's what he dropped. He sucks. Okay. Yeah, don't want to get too upset. But, okay, my other sleeper is Adisa Isaac. I don't like him. I don't know what it is about him. He has all the physical traits. But when I see him play, I feel like he doesn't have the motivation or something.
He was on the outside of Chop. He was on the other side.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like the Penn State's defensive line wasn't a pushover. They have good. Well, him and Chop. They had good interior linemen. They had a great defense. He didn't produce as much as you would think. He or Chop didn't produce as much as you would think.
So you would say he's like a David Ojabo. Because
Chase Winovich.
Okay.
If I'm doing a Michigan comparative,
because he was
Chase
on the other
Winovich,
side
I think, is selling life insurance. I think right now, drafted high in the second round by the Patriots. I think.
Yeah.
And he's selling used cars for Carvana. So it's like, I don't know. So you had Johnny Wilson.
Yeah.
I have Keon Coleman.
Okay.
Number 1, because he played for Michigan State. If you play for Michigan State, you suck. Signed Kirk Cousins. And signed every other person that's ever played for Michigan State, including, what's the new quarterback's name? Aiden Childs?
Yeah. Aiden Childs or whatever.
Childs, Chili's,
Oregon
whatever.
State.
Yeah. I don't get all the hype over someone that's taken, 15 snaps
He didn't
college.
even start.
Yeah, didn't start behind
DJ Uyunglele.
Yeah. Yeah, that's who he couldn't beat out. Guy that got shipped out. Dabo shipped him out to the West Coast. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to hate on it. Aiden Childs isn't on my overrated list yet. But yeah, Keon, again, all the physical tools, but he's like DK Metcalf 2.0. I think that's what he's going to be in the NFL. Not saying DK at 6'5", 250 pounds or whatever he is couldn't, beat the crap out of me. He could, but he
gets
not
drafted
an elite wide receiver like he should be.
You trade him
given his physical traits.
To Buffalo, he might be
Sammy Watkins.
No, I think he'd be better.
Josh Sammy Watkins?
Yeah, because Sammy Watkins didn't have a quarterback at Buffalo when he was playing there. But that's another story. Go on. EJ
Manuel's not good enough for you?
Yeah.
Or Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Yeah.
The ghost of, who is the white guy that used to play there while Sammy Watkins was there? Oh, crap. He was a bum, too. I don't remember his name. Okay, and then my last one's Amarius Mims. I just don't get it. He's a tackle out of Georgia. I don't see it with him. I don't get it. I just don't see it. Like I'm over here trying to criticize offensive line technique or anything like that. I just don't get why people are having him in the first round. Second round, I could see it to a specific team. I just don't understand what all the hype is. There's some people that have him going like top 10. I'm like, what? Like there's some, NFL draft analysts, like people that actually get paid for analyzing the draft. I put him in like the top 15, top 10. I'm like, I don't see it. He's not better than Joe Alt. He's not better than Fuaga. He's not better than. I don't think he's better than Tyler Guyton, personally. Tackle out of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Or what's the guy's name from Duke?
Barton.
Yeah. Graham Barton.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like maybe the 8th or 9th guy I take off.
Or Zach Center.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, I'm just a natural born hater. I could go on for days about overrated players, but we had to pick 5, so I picked 5. Okay, what else do we want to talk about now that we're done with that segment? Do we have anything else?
There's
NFL
some bad
related.
Stuff, right? No, not NFL. Yeah.
Just is my rant up next?
Yeah.
Finally,
you have your finger, your phone.
Oh yeah, hold on. Hold on, wait a minute. Now, unfortunately, this is the wrong finger that's being pointed up. If I could point a different finger on this little phone finger, I could, and yes, it would be the middle finger. Because screw you, Detroit! You suck! All year, the Brinket. Oh, are we going to get Patrick Kane? Oh, Patrick Kane. Oh, Patrick Kane. Oh, look at our 3 goalies. Oh, look at our goalies. They're so awesome. Look, we got Reimer, and we have Lyon, who was great last year. And oh, Ville Husso. Oh my gosh, I love you. The Brinken Larkin Raymond line's going to be great. Oh, yeah, DeBrinket, hey, how the last 21 games of your season go? We only scored 3 goals! We're paying you $7.5 million or more to score 3 goals! You scored 10 in your first 15. Is it 10 in your first 15? 10 in the first, first quarter of the season. Congratulations, you're on pace for 40 goals. And then you like 28! You suck! Why did we sign you for 7? We didn't trade anything for you. We traded Dominic Kubalik, who is probably now a missing person in Ottawa, and a bunch of picks that we don't care about. So was the trade-off, so significant where I have to criticize Steve Eisman for trading a top prospect? No. But my goodness, if I'm paying you I'm gonna look up his salary because you know what? It's relevant. It's relevant because when I'm paying you to be a top scorer on the team, you can't go months without scoring. You score 3 goals in 2 months. Now that I'm gotten really right up about Alex DeBrincat just disappearing, his little butt chin disappearing, if I look up Andrew Kopp stats, and if Andrew Kopp, who's also a certified piece of human just uselessness on offense, on defense, oh, hey, the coaches asked me to be more of a checking player than a scoring one. Oh, I forgot. If the coach asks you to check more because you're 6'1", 2", and you're fat, oh yeah, go out there. If you can't skate fast, go out there and hit people. Okay, that's what coach asked me. So I'm just going to be a complete liability on offense and on defense then. Is that your logic, Andrew Kopp? You suck. You and your $5.6 million per year. I know your salary off the top of my head because I want your salary off the books. You need to go play. You need to go back to the AHL and make $500,000 instead of $5.5 million. That's what needs to happen to you. Here, Alex DeBrincat contract, 4 years, $31.5 million, which is a cap hit of 7.9. If you want to round up, 7.9. The only player on the team that makes more is Dylan Larkin. Am I going to sit here and criticize Dylan Larkin? Absolutely not. Dylan Larkin, you're the best captain on this team since Steve Yzerman. And yeah, I'm hating on Henrik Zetterberg. Because if I got to watch... Look, Henrik Zetterberg's not relevant to the rant, okay? Yeah. But I have to hate on Henrik Zetterberg because I'm pretty sure my 5-month-old daughter, who can't even walk, could skate faster than you at the end of your career, Zetterberg! Back to this crap team. Alex DeBrincat, 7.4. I'm going to look up how many goals he scored. Because I know he scored like almost 30, but it's 27. He had 67 points in 82 games. He had like 20 the first 15 games. Because he had like 10 goals and he had like 5 assists, I think. 5 or 6 assists. So you mean to tell me the last 60-some games, so the first quarter you averaged more than a point a game, and in the last 3 quarters of the season, you just disappear. You're gone. You got your buddy and Patrick Kane to come here, who averaged almost a point a game, playing alongside of you. You managed to score 3 goals. I think it was the last 20 games of the season. If you want to count, because he had a game where he scored 2 goals against Montreal, the last game in Montreal, the game here, Detroit. He scored 2 goals. You mean to tell me you went 60-some games and you scored 17 goals in total over 60 games? Are you on crack? Did you turn into... Who is the cat that we traded for Anthony Mantha? Jacob Vrana. You mean to tell me you pulled a Jacob Vrana and you started snorting coke the last 3 quarters? You're like, oh, I know this is my sleep. And then just disappeared? Come on, man. And don't get me started with David Perron or Joe Veleno. Joe Veleno, I swear, if the Detroit Red Wings sign you, if Steve Yzerman signed you to any deal, I don't care if it's to be a ticket taker at the entrance of Little Caesars Arena. If I gotta see you in a Red Wings jersey one more time, I'm gonna throw up. You are pathetic. I don't care if you're, but he's 24, Tail. I don't care. This is like his 3rd year in the league. Right? You're 3. Here. Now I'm going to look up Joe Veleno stats. Because I mean, but he's only making $900,000, Tail. Give him some slack. No! You were playing with Alex DeBrincat for a hot minute. 12 goals, 16 assists. And oh, by the way, my favorite stat, which we need to start keeping plus-minus stats for like basketball. We have WAR for baseball. Yeah. And for football, I mean, how do you calculate plus? I mean, I don't know. Because you don't play both. You know, in football, you play offense or you play defense. That's very unique about football. In soccer, they kind of have a plus-minus, kind of. But nobody cares about it. So, in your season, your 2020-24 season, you played in 80 games. Congratulations, you have durability. That's your best stat. But I don't know why you're durable. Because you're not useful. Go get injured. And we'll bring up Marco Casper. Or we'll bring up, who's the other guy down there that's halfway decent? That's not Zach Aston Reese. Or that's not Austin Zarnick. You all suck.
Yeah.
You suck. The whole fourth line. We lose Michael Rasmussen, who I actually do like. I'm not going to criticize you, Michael Rasmussen, because last year, when you got injured, right before the trade deadline, right before the Ottawa series, which is what, because we had a home-and-home with Ottawa, and we got killed both games, and that's what forced Steve Yzerman to make a move at the deadline. And Steve, you're not immune from this. After I'm done criticizing the players, and after I'm done body-bagging Derek Lalonde, who you better not keep, I'm body-bagging you. I publicly gave you strike 1 and strike 2 on Facebook this past season, okay? And I never thought I'd do it in year 5. Because I thought we'd be in the playoffs! The playoffs! It's been 8 years! 8! 8 years! Maybe for the Pistons I get it, because they're run by a garbage owner, and their GM is just as bad as the owner. Mm-hmm. I get it for the Pistons. I get it for the Tigers, because we had Al Avila here for 7 years. We had Brett Ausmus as a manager. Yeah. We had 4 Cy Young winners and couldn't win a World Series. So if you got that on your team, you can't win anything. Yeah. You're kind of screwed. You need to rebuild. So Al Avila, 7 years, wasted. Last year, wasted. This year, I need a whole other. We just need one podcast so I could give you the Tiger stats that I gave, or give the people the Tiger stats that I gave you today. Horrible. I get it if we're the Tigers, not the Detroit freaking Red Wings. Not just the most historically successful team in Detroit, but in all North America. In North America, in hockey, there is no greater team historically. Yes, did we have a nice little 40-year dry spell where we didn't win a Stanley Cup? Yes. One of the most historic teams, unfortunately, in hockey in across all of North America are the Toronto Maple Leafs. They've never won a third round in the Stanley Cup playoffs since the expansion in 1960. Who cares? Because they suck. That is where we're projecting towards. If we get all the high draft picks, Steve, maybe I'm going to take a timeout from players since I'm on it already. I'm on a roll. Steve, we have the 3rd oldest team in the league. Why? Why do I have to look at Jeff Petry's old, raggedy, just beat down, useless body like Joe Veleno, like Andrew Kopp, like David Perron, who's also old, like JT Compher. I'm sorry, is JT Compher really going to put me over the edge if I really need a Stanley Cup playoff run? Is JT Compher the answer? No, he's not. Is what other bum did he? Justin Hall. Is he the answer? No. Is Shane Gostisbehere the answer? Oh, Shane Gostisbehere, that's like minus 15? Here, let me pull up I love plus-minus stats in hockey. It's a great statistic. It's not talked about enough. Here's my defense. Shane Gostisbehere, minus 16. Mo Seider, minus 10. Jeff Petry, minus 10. Ben Sherratt, minus 4. Simon Edmondson is even, and he played a quarter of a season. You want to know who the best plus? Can you guess who the best plus minus is on the Red Wings? You're never going to believe it. I would never guess this. It's Olli Mata. How is Olli Mata plus 14 on this team? How is that our best defenseman with a plus minus? Is he in terms of talent? No, because he's like 30 years old. He's not going to get any better. He's set in his ways. He's here. Okay, cool. I'll live out the rest of Olli Mata's days. But outside of that, I've got to have 3 new defensemen. 3 new defensemen. Or if you want to say Simon Edmondson can stay, okay, cool. Stay. He was good. He was literally easily our second best defenseman coming up. He's better than any of the guys Steve signed during the offseason. He's better than Shane Gostisbehere. He's better than Justin Holl, who never plays. And then he's better than Jeff Petry. He's better than, and yet he spent and I get it, he started the year injured. I get it. But why did we sign 3 defensemen when we have 4 from last year? We had Cider. We had Wallman. We had Mata was here last year. And then who's the other guy I'm forgetting? Sherrod, who's also a dumpster fire. Ben Sherrod, just retire, please. I don't care if we still have to pay you your $4 million. I think it's $4 million. Retire. You would be doing everybody, including your lovely family, and I'm sure you're a lovely husband, but you're a crappy hockey player. Get out of my city! You suck! I'm tired of it. I'm tired of old defensemen that can't skate, that have big bodies, and then don't use them. At least, Radko Gudas might be 100 years old. I don't know. He has an awesome beard, and he decapitates people. Be more like Radko. If your former teammate in Florida. If you want to be significant to Teo or significant to the team, hit people, injure people. That's the whole point of hockey. Fight someone. Get pucks on net. You can't even do that. All I see is Sherrod on offense just skate around and then, dump it in the corner and then turn around and he's dumping it to nobody because everyone's like, oh, that's the puck. He's going to do something great with it. No, you're not. You've never done anything great when you've had the puck on your stick. Ever in your entire career. Leave. Go away. Get traded. Retire. Get hit by a bus. I don't care. Get hit by the queue line. I don't care. You're useless to me. Go away. Just go away as soon as you can. Please. You know who the best player on this freaking team was this year? Because he played all 82 games. No, nothing against Larkin for getting hurt like 3 times. He went through it. But our most consistent player, and I can't believe I'm saying it because I don't like him. I don't like Lucas Raymond, okay? I'm going to get hate for that because, he's 22 years old. You see what he's doing at 22? He had 72 points. I'm sorry. Did he have 150 like Steve Yzerman in his 3rd year or 4th year, whatever it was? No! He's not this superstar. He's not this budding guy. He had a horrible 2nd year. And he scored 31 goals. I'm sorry, is he Austin Matthews? Did he score 70 goals? I'm sorry, is he Nikita Kucherov? Did he have 100 assists? Is he doing something that no player in Detroit sports history has ever done? Johan Franzen scored more goals than you in a season! For Christ's sakes! Marian Hossa played here 1 year, he scored 40 goals! I'm sorry, I'm not on the Lucas Raymond hype train. Was he clutch down the stretch? Yes. Absolutely, I made my daughter cry. Lucas Raymond was clutch down the stretch. 100%. I'm not hating on him for that. But the other times of the year when he could have been great, all I saw Lucas Raymond do, and I swear, if he gets like 20 minutes a night on the ice, he spends half of that getting up off the ice because every time I look at him, he's on the floor. Why? What are you doing? You're playing defense and you're on your back. You're in the offensive zone and you look at the goal line and you fall over it. Like, what are you doing? Can I get you to have a little bit more balance? Can I get you to be better defensively? I get you score goals in clutch moments, on this fake playoff run because they didn't make it because freaking John Tortorella pulled his goal with 3 minutes to go. Are you kidding me, John? Like, I get it. You tried. You played very hard and you were clutch down the stretch. Great. Can you be clutch like 50% of the games instead of the last quarter of the season? Can I ask a little more out of you? Because 31 goals and 41 assists is not enough. It's not good enough. In this NHL, it's not good enough. If you want to be on the top line, I need you to average a point a game. I need the McKinnon, Landeskog, and I can't remember the guy's name. I'm drawing a blank. Who's the other guy on the Colorado team? That sick offensive first line. I can't remember his name. It's something crazy. I don't remember his name. But I need that. I need something like that here in Detroit. That's how we get in the playoffs. That's how we get to be even more. The Detroit Red Wings were entertaining this year because they went through so many ups and downs. The downs were so bad. You go the entire month of, February, and you lose 2 games. Hold on, I have the stats. Where'd it go? I had it. Here it is. I got it. Wrote it down on a freaking note. These stats are ridiculous. So you go 5-2-1 in April. Good job. You gave up your 10-point lead that you had basically all of March, because in March you went 3-8-2. You got 8 points in 13 games. 8 points in 13 games in the month of March. You had a 9-point cushion. You were in the number one wild card spot. Tampa Bay was looking at you, going, "Oh, I wish we were the Red Wings. Oh, I wish we could be higher than them. Oh my goodness, they're getting Steve. We miss you, Steve, down here in Tampa." And now they made the playoffs. They're the number one wild card. And now the Capitals are number 2 wild card. You lost to the Capitals. They have a -50 differential. What is their goal differential? It's horrible. How did any of the teams? How did the Red Wings? How did the Penguins? How did the Flyers? How did they let this team beat them? How? How is this real life? They had 89 points or something. That's horrible. At least with the Red Wings, man, they have players. Who does Washington have that you care about? Alexander Wright, he's 400 years old. He was a lab creation. Vladimir Putin made him 20 years ago. That's it. That's all they have. Backstrom's gone. Bobrovsky's gone. The other guy. What's his name? He left.
Former Red Wing.
No, Anthony Mantha. No, he's not there anymore though. They traded him to Vegas.
Yes.
Which now I'm hoping Vegas loses because if I could put an overrated bust list, like if an honorable hockey player in our previous,
he'd be there.
Anthony Mantha, you suck. You would be on that list too. What am I looking at here? What is this? What is the NHL? Why does the NHL website actually stink? Why is it garbage? I just want the standings. I don't care about the playoffs anymore. My playoff dreams are gone. Where? Oh, here it's under stats. Why are standings under stats? They should be under standings, guys. This is putrid. So the Red Wings. So first off, here's the other thing. The Red Wings won 41 games. The Capitals won 40. Can you make that make sense? The team that won more didn't make the playoffs, and they had the same number of points. -37 goal differential. What are we talking about? -37, Ted? Come on, dude. That's like the Tigers being outscored by 50 or 100 and winning the Central Division. That's asinine. What is the NHL doing? What are we doing here, guys? 220 goals? They didn't even average 3 goals a game! Do better, Red Wings! Do better! And Steve, you're getting a 3rd strike, buddy, if you don't fix it this offseason. I need $20 million off the books ASAP! ASAP! I need Ben Sherratt gone, launched out of a howitzer. A howitzer. I have a hit list. I want Andrew Copp gone. Launch him out of one of Tom Gorris's t-shirt cannons. I want David Perron not re-signed because he sucks. I know sometimes his shots look cool and he has a wicked wrist and he's terrible. If I can't say what I want to say. I can't say. This podcast would end faster than it started if I said what I wanted to say about him. David Perron's defense. I can't say it. I want those 3 guys on. Get rid of JT Compher. I can't stand seeing JT Compher because he reminds me of Chris Draper if he actually played with a hockey stick. I feel like Chris Draper never played. He never scored. He had 1 year where he had 30 goals, and that was it. That's how I feel about JT Compher this year. He had like 20 goals, not even 20. And has he ever done that before? No. Yeah. And you're paying him $5.5.
You want Petrie gone?
Jeff Petrie.
He's a legend, though.
Oh, no, and he's not. His dad is. Yeah. And because of who his dad is, I think that's why I don't have any proof of this, but I feel like that's the only reason why he's here is because of Montreal paid half your salary to play against them. Kind of like, that scene in Moneyball where Brad Pitt is with David Justice in the batting cage. And he's like, the Yankees are paying you to play against them. The Montreal Canadiens are paying you to play against them, Jeff. Mm-hmm. That's how they feel about you. Why are you on this team? I'll never know. Why you started with a healthy-ish Jake Wallman. Why Jeff started with a healthy-ish Jake Wallman and Edvinson up here? I don't know. Justin Hall. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye. Joe Valeno. Gone. I don't want him. You want to... Okay, here's who you can keep, Steve. Take it from somebody that actually... I'm not going to say I know more hockey than you because that's not fair. But take it from somebody who's not in love with their guys, okay? I've never been one that's like, oh my God, I want all of them to come back. I love them all. This team shows so much grit, so much passion. Oh my God, they love each other. I don't care. They could hate each other. Just if they win and they win playoff games and win playoff series, I don't care. Yep. I don't care if they go out and on their free time they're doing horrendous things as long as it's not illegal, or they're doing questionable things, or doing immoral things. I don't care. Just win hockey games. Entertain me and win hockey games. If I have to watch any of the players that I just named, so David Perron, Andrew Kopp, JT Compher, I said Joe Valeno, Justin Hall, Jeff Petrie, so now I'm going on defense. This idiot, Sherrod, and Shane Gostisbehere, who's on a 1-year deal, so obviously you can't move him. Probably should have moved him at the deadline, but hey, you were in a good spot on March 8th. And that's another thing that we need to criticize you. I'm going to take a minute to do that because you did nothing. You did absolutely nothing. You actually traded one of your better fourth-line guys for literally nothing. You traded Klim Kostin, who I actually liked, who actually could throw his body around, actually fight a little bit, was a gritty player, get under people's skin, and had decent hands when he played. You decided to trade someone that I think fans would have liked if he actually played more often, and you got nothing in return. Literally nothing. Literally. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. From the San Jose Sharks for literally nothing. A guy that couldn't break the worst team in hockey's lineup. You took on that guy. Why? I'm just asking. Because imagine, Rasmussen gets hurt, Kopp gets hurt for that little bit of time. We're calling up Zach Aston Reese instead of Clint Kostin. That's an issue. And why are we calling up Zach Aston Reese? Nobody cares about Zach Aston Reese. He's not a top prospect. He's not somebody that could use the experience that could help you for next year, like what Marco Casper could use.
Danielson.
Or Danielson. Or the other guy. I can't remember his name. I'm drawing a blank on his name. The other forward. No, the other guy.
Okay.
I'm going to look it up real quick. Because it's relevant. And I need a break. My throat is absolutely killing me. I've yelled. You guys are going to need to adjust your volume at some point here. Oh, Carter Mazur. Why isn't Carter Mazur up here? Where's Jonathan Berggren? Why is he the bad guy? Because you decided to sign JT Compher. You decided to sign Daniel Sprong, who I actually like a lot. You decided to sign who am I forgetting? The guy that they just signed. It's the same 20 guys, Teo. You can remember the guys that you hate. Okay, so I said Kopp. I said Compher. I said
Sherrod.
No,
defense.
No, forwards. I'm drawing a blank on the guys. Oh, I have it right here. I forgot I had this open. Crap.
Perron.
No. So you signed. So what I'm getting at is you sign Kane. When Kane comes here, that's when Burgers goes down. Burgers doesn't like you anymore, so now he's not going to resign. You could have traded him at the deadline. Could have gotten something for him. You could have packaged him with one of these dead bodies that you're paying $5 million to ship him out. Get him out. Now, and I also found out, I didn't know this, I also just remembered, or found out the other day, and I'm remembering it now, that Justin Abdelkader is still getting $1 million. He's costing the Ravens $1 million. Justin Abdelkader was doing color commentary, or he was doing analysis for the last 3 games for Channel 20 with Brad Galley. He was in front of a TV and not playing hockey. Why are we still paying this guy $1 million? Buy him out. Buy out the rest of his time. What are we doing messing around? Like, we got 10 years. I know Ken Holland said, it takes 10 years to rebuild once
brought it down to the level that I brought it down to.
Yeah, thanks for that, Kenny. And now Steve Eisner is taking the brunt for it. It's been 5 years. I get it. Year one, we were featuring Nicholas Cronwall and Jonathan Harrison. That's what Steve Eisner had to work with.
Yeah.
Okay? But we're 5 years beyond that now. We need to be making playoffs, and we're not making it. And you want to know who? And this is the last bit of my rant. This has been way more than 10 minutes. I'm sorry, Teddy.
You're good.
You know who else is responsible for this? Probably more than everybody.
Our favorite.
More than everybody that's been mentioned,
Newsy?
including the player. Freaking Newsy Lalone. Freaking Derek Lalone. And then I gotta hear, oh no, we're gonna bring him back next year. Oh, he's a good coach. Oh, he's did a good job. Oh, he's developed the players. I haven't seen a more clueless head coach. Actually, that's not true. Jeff Blasher was clueless. I totally forgot about Jeff Blasher.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a more clueless head coach with as much talent as... Okay, so admittedly, Jeff Blasher didn't have the talent that Derek Lalone has. Because he didn't have DeBrincat, he didn't have Kane, he didn't have Sider or Edmondson or...
He had people...
or Raymond or Spronger, right? The guys that could put the puck in the net. Jeff Blasher didn't have... He had Tomas Tatar and your favorite, Gus Nyquist. Hey, Gus, I hope you...
Hey, he's got... I can't. I won't.
I was going to say something again that would have gotten us canceled. I can't say what I want to say to Gus Nyquist because he's in Nashville. He's
in the playoffs.
And he's actually playing halfway decent for the first time in your life. Scumbag. Never played like that here. What's your problem? Piece of garbage. Anyway, Jeff Blasher didn't have the talent. Derek Lalone had the talent. You were right there. You were 9 points clear. You were in the playoffs. And I got to hear, oh, well, nobody predicted us to be here. I did! We all did! We all knew you could do it, god dang it! And you didn't do it! And it's on you. It's on you for your stupid loser mentality. Oh, well, nobody had us here. I don't care what Paul Bissonnette or what Spittin' Chicklets. I don't care what Barry Melrose, if he's even sober anymore. Yeah. I don't care what he has to say. I don't care what anyone on TSN has to say. I don't care what anyone on ESPN has to say. I don't care about what PK Subban has to say. I don't care who thinks you're going to do what. I care about what you do. I care about results. And I care about what you're capable of. We've shown that this team is capable of winning games when they need to win games. They showed it at the end of the season. Yeah, I get it. You lose because freaking John Tortorella pulls a goal. Okay. You didn't lose because of that.
Right.
You lost because you went 3-8-2 in the month of March. You started out 0-6-0. You didn't get any points your first 6 games. And then you go 3-2-2 to end the month. And then you go 5-2-1 in April. By then, it was too late. It was too late. You didn't get enough. If you take one of those first losses, and look, they weren't even competing in those games. Arizona. That's the problem that I have.
Arizona, you scored 2 goals in those 2 games. 8 goals allowed.
Shut out. 4-0.
Yes.
4-1 and then 4-0.
Yes.
I'm looking at it here. 4-0 and then 4-1
to a minor league hockey team.
Yeah, to a team that's not even called Arizona. They're just called the Utah. You lost to Mormons. No, I'm kidding. That's unfair. Yeah. That's unfair.
And then the Washington.
They're not Mormons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and lest we forget, you lose to them in overtime, 4-3. At least you. Oh well, we got a very valuable point. You know what's more valuable than 1 point, Derek? 2. Win the game. It's that simple. You're playing teams that you gotta beat to get in. You lose 6-3 on the road in Pittsburgh. You lose at home. On the road at Washington on the 26th. And then you lay a goose egg against Carolina, who by that time had already clinched. They're not playing for anything. They're playing to see am I going to play the Islanders or am I playing the Red Wings? And then if I win that series, when do I beat the crap out of the Toronto Maple Leafs? That's all they were asking themselves at that time, and you still couldn't beat them. You go the month of February, you get 14 points out of a possible 20.
You lost to Nashville. Yeah, I know.
They actually played pretty well in that Nashville game when they lost 1-0.
Yes.
Obviously, I think they had in the entire game, they had like
But it was
12
one
shots
goal.
on goal.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you
yeah.
only lost 1-0.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's one game where they competed in. That might have been the only game. In the entire month of March, where in a losing effort, they actually showed that they had heart. 4-0 to Florida. Garbage. 7-2 to Colorado. You were up 2-0 to start the game.
Yeah.
And then 7 unanswered. You get shut out for the second time in 2 games to Arizona. Garbage. Vegas Golden Knights lose 5-3. Garbage. Lose 7-3 to Buffalo Sabres. They weren't even... They had just traded players. Garbage.
So, yeah, they were solid.
Lose 4-1 at home. You need one against Arizona, who was... They hadn't won a single game in their last 12.
Yep.
Except against you.
Yep.
They were 1-10-1, I think, over the last 12 games.
Yep.
And you lose with 4-1 at home? You need to win. And then, but they beat Buffalo the next game 4-1. I don't care. Because then you followed up with a loss at Pittsburgh to the Penguins. Unbelievable.
Yep.
It was the biggest meltdown in the history of Red Wings hockey. I was born in 92, so I got to see the legendary teams. I'm not comparing that to this. But that is what your goal is. The 97-98 team. Oh, well, they didn't have a salary cap here. They could sign anybody they wanted. They could trade for, Sergei Shanahan. What about Larry Murphy, Mateo? First off, Steve, you actually have to make a move at the deadline to get players that can be like what Larry Murphy and Brendan Shanahan were to those teams. You didn't do that. And then you just sat there and you watched your team get decapitated the entire month of March. And then you didn't bring up Edmondson soon enough. You let Jeff Petrie come out here, and you let Ben Schrock come out here, and everybody else.
And you're relying on a goalie who last year who was just a backup.
Well, that's not his fault.
It's not. I won't give it to him.
Because, okay, first off, people are saying, the goaltending is horrible when Ville Husso was in. I'm like, guys, are you watching this game on social media? I got several arguments with hockey fans or Red Wings fans. They're like, Husso stinks. Have you seen how he gave us soft goals? Guys, the San Jose game is a perfect example. They were up 4-0. This is Patrick Kane's first game as a Red Wing. And they blew the game in overtime, 6-5. Why? Because they were up 4-0. Gave up 2 shorthanded goals, and they gave up 2 other goals. Yeah. In the second period alone. They're going up against a team that was one of the worst teams in the second period. Yeah. And they allowed 4 goals. Yeah. 2 on the power play. They were on the power play. 2 shorthand goals. Yeah. Maybe if they don't lose that game, right? I could look at so many games where if they had just got 1 point, if they just lost to a team in overtime,
they're in.
We wouldn't be having this conversation. Right. Or maybe we would.
Because of Pittsburgh and whatever happened there.
And here's the thing. And this is my last point, and then we'll end the podcast on this. While I'm already just juiced up. Yeah. Moving forward, and even if they had made the playoffs, I would still be ranting. Would it be as bad? No, because they'd be in the playoffs. And that's a big thing.
Winning changes everything.
Well, not so much that, because if they make the playoffs and they get blown out, I'm still furious because you had a 9-point lead. We shouldn't be here. You should be playing better hockey instead of backing yourself into the playoffs. Yeah. Like what the Lions did when they were 9-4 back in 2016, I think. They lost the last 3. All they had to do was win one of their last 3 games, and they didn't. And they ended up having to go on the road to Seattle, and they scored like 6 points. Backing into the playoffs, the Lions made the playoffs. But backing into it, it's like it doesn't have the same gas behind it when you go 7-3 in February, then you follow it up with an 0-6 start, then you end it 3-2-2. Like it's demoralizing as a fan. You can't get behind the product. You hope you can, but in reality, you can't. So if we look like this again next year, I'm done, and the Yzer plan has to come into question. I can't have the 3rd oldest team in the league in year 5 of the Yzer plan. I can't have it. I can't have 36-year-old David Perron or 36-year-old Patrick Kane. And I'm sorry, Patrick. Thanks for everything. Really, thanks for nothing. Because also, Your last 5 games were putrid. You didn't do anything. So thanks again for that. But also, sayonara. Have a nice life. I hope we play against you as many. I think the maximum number of times you can play against a team is 4 times. Because I hope we play you and you're on defense against our best players. Because you don't play any. When you're on the ice in the defensive zone, it's 5-on-4. And I swear to God, half the time I saw the Red Wings give up a crack goal, Patrick Kane's on the ice.
Yep.
Or he's on the ice and he's out there for like a minute and a half on a long shift because he just couldn't just go and change on the way that he just couldn't play defense because he's too old. Like, there's just, this season helped me realize there's just so many flaws in the Yzer plan. It helped me realize that. I thought things were going great. I thought our prospects were doing great in Grand Rapids. And maybe they are. I don't know. I haven't seen them because I don't watch Grand Rapids Griffin hockey. I watch Red Wings hockey. That's what I care about. Bring the young guys up, Steve. I don't care if a whole line, instead of the grind line, it's the what did you do with your mind line. Like rookies making mistakes. I'd rather see the rookies make the same mistakes that David Perron made, taking a high sticking penalty with 9 minutes to go against the Rangers at home. I'd rather see a rookie make that stupid error than a 35-year-old veteran who I think won a Stanley Cup with St. Louis. Is that true? I don't remember if he did.
Yeah.
That one year where they were garbage and then they came back and made the playoffs.
Right.
They were a low seed and they won the playoffs. I think he was on that team. I would rather see a rookie do that. Someone with untapped potential.
Right.
Someone with a ceiling.
Yeah.
David Perron's ceiling is here, and he's here going this way. I want to see a player whose ceiling is here, who's here, and their ceiling is going that way.
Yep.
That way. Which is where you should be going in the standings. Not this way. With David Perron's skill set.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm done. Next year, if the Detroit Red Wings are not in the playoffs, it's strike 3, and Teo is putting you and Derek Lalonde on Teo's GM/coaching hit list.
Yep.
And you're going to stay there unless you win something. Just win. Just win something. You're redeemable. Dan Campbell's redeemable.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell was on Teo's coaching hit list, believe it or not, when he was 1-6. Or 1-6. When they started out 1-6. He was on the hit list. And wanted him gone. Because he kept going for 4th down and kicking field goals. And then what comes back to bite us? Going for 4th down and not kicking field goals.
Yeah.
We bring it back full circle to football, which is what the pod's about. Thank you for allowing me to rant.
Yeah.
Mr. Nashville Predators fan. I hope the Predators, I won't say out loud what I said to you in text, but I'll say I hope they lose. I hope they get swept. I hope I win the bet because we have another bet on Nashville, which is Vancouver winning in 6 or less.
Or Nashville.
Yours is Nashville, so if Nashville wins in 6 or less. But if it goes to Game 7, it's a tie because it's played in Vancouver's barn.
Yeah.
And in the Game 7 in the NHL, who knows? Anybody could win that. It's a one-game playoff.
Right.
So that's our latest bet, and obviously that's adding on to the Blake Corum one. So we have sandwiches on the line everywhere.
Yep.
So with that, thank you for watching.
Yep.
Again, I'm sorry for yelling into your ear about the Red Wings. I know you're here to listen to football stuff. Hope you enjoyed that, and hope you enjoyed me yelling and losing my voice. Okay. Bye, guys. Thanks.